Hello, everyone. My name is Danny. This review is for the movie called Official Secrets. From the award winning director of Eye in the Sky comes the incredible true story of the spy who defied her government to stop a war. In 2003, British intelligence specialist Catherine Gunn received a memo with a shocking directive: collective blackmail worthy information of UN Council members to force the vote for the invasion of Iraq. Unable to stand by and watch the world rush into war, Gunn makes the decision to leak the memo to the press, igniting an international firestorm that would expose a vast political conspiracy and put Gunn in harm's way. This is a 2019 film. It is rated R. It runs 111 minutes. And it stars the people on the front: Keira Knightley, Matt Smith, Matthew Good, and Ralph Fiennes. And you're going to recognize a couple other people also. It's kind of a stacked cast. This is Official Secrets. Well, hello everyone. This is review number 496 for me. I am far away from my 500th review on YouTube. Thank you so much for following me, and here we go with this review. I got this from the library. I had never heard of it. I know most of the people in it, but never seen it before, never heard of it before. Put it in my player and watched it. Figure I knew what it was kind of about, since it says the title of the movie is Official Secrets, something what it was about. So this has to deal with Bush, Colin Powell, uh, the Prime Minister at that time, and of obviously this happens in England, so it has to do with the Prime Minister. Has to deal with obviously the whole conspiracy thing that we've always heard, if Iraq has uh, weapons of mass destruction or not. And of course, we've had running jokes and running things about that, for the last, over 10 years. So this is kind of an older story, but it's still very relevant. And it has to do with all the stuff at that time and all the craziness that we've had to endure at that time and still feeling the effects of it. So, Keira Knightley is an interesting pick for the main role here. Obviously, she knows what she's doing. She's been in some major films and everything, and she's done some good work in her lifetime. So yeah, I mean, she plays a good government worker, but she doesn't play a good wife. She just isn't able to encompass everything that she really needs to handle in this movie. It's like she got given too much to handle. And it very much shows. I don't know why. It just does. And, she's alongside some of these people that are seasoned pros and they're just amazing actors. The guy that plays the lawyer towards the end of the movie, he's just amazing. And, some of these other people, like they really know what they're doing. And even though they're a side character, maybe, and Kira's kind of the head character, the main focus, she just kind of gets outshined. And that's kind of sad. So, everybody else, there's a lot going on in this, and the characters have to understand what they're doing. They're playing out a movie, which we get a lot of these movies all the time, but when you're in a movie like this, that's based on a true story, that's based on government stuff, that's based on history, you've got to be able to play your character accordingly. You can't just be yourself and just say your lines. It's not that easy. You've really got to buy in to being into a movie like this. And otherwise, people are going to feel that you're not completely 100% on it, or you're not completely comfortable or whatever. You really got to be on your game when you're on a movie like this, because this is serious stuff that we're dealing with. It's history, it's secrets, it's governments lying to their people. It's all this kind of stuff. Like, you can't just make a movie like this and have anybody in it. So I do appreciate most of the actors, most of the characters. A lot of explanation is given, even though it's kind of confusing. And that leads me to my next point, is that this movie gets really confusing. I know most of us, if you follow history, if you follow current events, know how crazy that time was with Iraq. 2003, 2005, something like that. And their timeline for this movie, like, this is just a movie. And this isn't talking about history. This is just this movie. Is that they're jumping from this year to this month to that year down the road. Oh, we're gonna backtrack a little bit. If you're not really paying attention and you're not really invested in this movie, then you're gonna get a little lost. You're gonna get a little upset that they're backtracking and fast forwarding and backtracking and fast forwarding, and sometimes they just show a scene just to show a scene, and you assume that they're gonna come back to it, and most of the time they do, but sometimes they're just kind of messing with you to make sure you're paying attention. And that's another thing that you can't really do in a movie when you're doing something historical, is you got to kind of just lay it all out there, let the story progress how it would, like you were just telling somebody about it. When you're writing the script for this movie, just tell the story. You don't have to go 6 months back, 3 years back, forward, 2 years. You don't need to do all that. So we just need you to tell the story. I think it gets really confusing when they're jumping back and forth. I think it's a really kind of the weakest point of this movie, is that they do all that. Um, the other thing, and I know this says based on a true story, so maybe it's not, word per word, moment by moment, factual, exactly what happened. But I kind of feel like some of the stuff that they have in this movie, whether it's what happened or whether they're just kind of trying to make it more interesting as a movie, I just kind of feel like it's a little absurd. You know, some of the ways they talk about some of this stuff, some of the ways they handle some of this stuff. I'll just throw out a little minute spoiler. Is something in the movie is Kira's husband is threatened to be deported because of what Kira's going through. Okay? That's a pretty generic statement, right? You have no idea what I'm talking about unless you've seen the movie. And the way they handle that deportation is like slapping each other on the hand. It just seems like a little kiddie fight. It seems like they're being really, really just, irresponsible about things. I don't think the way that they handled it in the movie would ever be how it is handled in real life. I don't know. But it's just watching a movie, you watch them in their version of doing things, and it just seems weird. So that's just one kind of feeling I had from the movie. Was I was watching it, I was listening to it. Yeah, you hear people complain about politics all the time. You hear complaints about this country, and that's a normal everyday thing. We're still doing that, and it's 2020. This is covering a lot of space of history, and we're still feeling the same things that are in this movie. So it's a very it's very relevant. But it's just some of the ways that they handle it as a movie I don't know would be happening in real life. Some of the things with the newspaper and stuff like that. I just don't know. So, what do you do with a movie like this? It's based on true story. You kind of know what's going to happen at the end. You kind of know what the character's going to say half the time because it's what they have to say. They stay a little bit too focused on some things because it's a barren story. It has one point. It has one conclusion, and there's no ways of going around that. You got to kind of stay on the track and come up with things to say. So I'm just gonna give Official Secrets a C. Um, I can't suggest watching it, but a lot of people love these movies. And right now in theaters is Richard Jewell. I mean, we get based on true story stuff all the time. People feel like telling people stories all the time. So I don't really care for them because I know it's coming at the end, and as a movie, it doesn't really entertain me or interest me. It might be about a really interesting thing, but that doesn't make it a great movie. So I'm just gonna go middle down the road with this Official Secrets and give it a C. Thanks a lot, guys. My name's Danny. If you like this or any of my other videos, try and give some of them a watch. Like and subscribe to my channel if you would. And enjoy movies. Thanks.